Alright guys, so we're starting with chapter P, and we're doing section 1, and it's day 1 of it. So we're going to talk about algebraic expressions, mathematical models, and real numbers. So our objectives for the first part of day 1 here is to evaluate algebraic expressions and to use mathematical models. So if a letter is used to represent various numbers, it is called a variable. A combination of variables and numbers using the operations of addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, as well as powers or roots, is called an algebraic expression. Evaluating an algebraic expression means to find the value of the expression for a given value of the variable. The expression b to the n is called an exponential expression. Alright, so in example 1 here, let's evaluate an algebraic expression. So we're going to evaluate this here, 8 plus 6 times x minus 3 squared for x equals 13. And so since we know what x is equal to, we're going to take the x, any x that's in the expression, and we're going to replace it with it. So we got 8 plus 6 times its x. We said we're going to replace that with 13 minus 3 squared. Excuse me, and we're going to simplify that. Well, to simplify it, remember we're going to use PEMDAS. Okay, so the first thing we look for is, does it have any parentheses that we can work inside of? And yes, this one does. It has 13 minus 3. So we got 8 plus 6 times 13 minus 3 is 10 squared. So we did the P. Then we look for E. E is for exponents. Do we have any exponents? Yes, we have a square. So let's bring down our 8 plus 6 times 10 squared is 100. So we're done with the exponent. Now be careful here because multiplication and division are on the same level, okay? So this is where they'll get you, because when they're on the same level, you work it from left to right. This problem only has multiplication, so it's not a big deal. But if it had multiplication and division, you have to start working from the left and go to the right. So we do have the multiplication right here, so let's go ahead and do that. And 6 times 100 is 600. And we said there's no division. And then the same thing with addition and subtraction. They're on the same level, so you will work them from left to right as well. But this one, we only had the addition here, and so 8 plus 600 is 608, our solution. Alright, so remember, if this seems to be going too fast, guys, pause it, back up, okay? You can do that. So now let's talk about some formulas and mathematical models. An equation is formed when an equal sign is placed between two algebraic expressions. So the difference really between an expression and an equation is an equation has an equal sign in it. And so it's going to have two sides, where an expression is just like one side of an equal sign of an equation. Excuse me, a formula. So a formula is an equation that uses variables to express the relationship between two or more quantities. The process of finding formulas to describe real-world phenomena is called mathematical modeling. Such formulas together with the meaning assigned to the variables, are called mathematical models. So watch out, because what I see is sometimes they ask you to find the model for the problem, and students get confused. They're not sure what are they asking for. If they ask you for a model, they're asking you for the equation of the word problem, okay? So just watch out for that. Model is the same as an equation. All right, so in example 2, it says the formula t is equal to 4x squared plus 330x plus 3310 models the average cost of tuition and fees t for public U.S. colleges for the school year ending X years after 2000. Use the formula to project the average cost of tuition and fees at public U.S. colleges for the school year ending in 2014. So first is, let's go through and let's see what our variables represent. So as I go through, I see that I have a t and an x. So what is t? Well, it's right here, so I need to read around it. It says the average cost of tuition and fees t. So t is going to be the cost of the tuition and the fees. Then what is x? X is right here, and so it's a school year ending X years after 2000. So x is going to be the number of years after 2000. All right, so what are we after? It says use the formula to project the cost of tuition. So we want the projected average cost of tuition and fees. Okay, that's what we're after. And that was t. So t is what we're solving for, which means I got to figure out what x is. Well, is x 2014? No, because remember, x is the number of years after 2000. So we got to find out how many years after 2000 is that. So we're going to subtract out the 2000, and we'll find that we get 14. So that tells us then that x is going to be 14. So now let's just plug that into our equation. So we've got t equals 4. We don't have x. Remember we said we're going to plug x is 14 in. 14 squared plus 330, it's x, so let's plug in that 14 again, plus 3,310. And so I'm going to work my way through this again using PEMDAS, and I don't have any parentheses this time to be able to work inside of. The parentheses we have there are the same as the multiplication. So let's go on to the next one. So no parentheses, I have exponents. I have right there that 14 squared, so I got 4 times 14 squared is 196, and I'm just going to bring the rest of it down because I don't have any other exponents. And then I'm going to look for multiplication and division, and I do some multiplication here and here, so I'm going to go ahead and do them. So 4 times 196 is 784. 330 times 14 is 4,620, and then bring down your plus 3310. And then we're only left with addition, so I'm going to add all them together. And when we do that, I'm just going to write it over here, so we get t equals 8,714. Now I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide because I don't have enough room here. And so we just said that t was equal to 8,714. But when we do a word problem, we should always answer that in a complete sentence. And it takes care of the writing component that we have to cover. So what did t represent? Remember, it was the average cost of tuition and fees at public U.S. colleges. So we could say the average cost of tuition and fees don't abbreviate anything, it's got to be a complete sentence, in 2014 is projected to be $8,714. And there is our solution.